Hi, everybody. I'm here with Kirsten Tolfree-Dart, and we are talking about recruiter enablement. So, Kirsten, thank you for joining me today. It's good to see you. Give us a quick introduction for anybody that doesn't know you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm Kirsten. I currently work for Hays as Head of Solutions, but I've spent probably the last 20 odd years working within sort of talent acquisition space, everything to do with perm and non-permanent hiring, with a bit of a passion for technology and process specifically, is what I would say. So good to be here. Thank you.
Yes, great. I'll tell you what, actually, before we talk about recruiter enablement, could you just give us, I know it's taking you back in time, but could you just give us a couple of minutes about like what you did at Kantar, because it was just so extraordinary. And you came and joined us on Recruiting Brain Food to talk a bit about it. And I know a lot of people were like mouth open, kind of wide at what you've been able to achieve. I mean, just give us a little bit of a summary about what that was all about again.
So Kantar is an amazing organisation, amazing, doing some amazing, wonderful things. And with that, there is a huge contingent worker population, which comes in many shapes and sizes. And actually, my experience there was phenomenal to the extent of it's really changed my mindset regarding talent and the ecosystem of talent, and therefore kind of what we need to, like, companies need to do to be successful to get talent, because gone are the days whereby you'd have a contingent program which is all focused on recruitment agencies giving supplies, etc. The business embraced knowing individuals, knowing workers, and drawing upon skills and experience of people that they know, which is amazing. But when you've got a population of nearly 11,000 contingent workers making in different countries, having the right process, risk, and compliance in place to get those people in and pay them compliantly was a really big priority. So I had the pleasure of working with them to actually understand why the business was using contingent workers, and how to bring them in into one controlled structure. And I think one of the really cool things about it was actually enabling hiring managers. So not necessarily recruiter enabling, but hiring manager enablement, enabling them to be, I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but grown-ups. They're bringing people into their team, facilitating that self-service element of them knowing who they want within their business, but arming them with tools and compliance, like, to do it correctly. There's a lot of process technology and ways of working changes for them, which was an amazing experience. Amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine it was. And I really enjoyed learning about it as well. So you've mentioned process a few times, right? Generally, what's your comments on recruiter enablement? In fact, a lot of people have come on here and they've talked about, enabling hiring managers and enabling candidates and recruitment enablement. But anyway, enablement, right? What's your comments?
So I think because of the role that I do, and also because of my experience, I'm always starting from the beginning of how does it work, like, and ways of working. And I think, if you asked me 5 years ago, I would have been I think my response would have been, people, process, technology. Let's look at it through the experience of all those individuals, the process of technology. I think one of the biggest components for enablement is now data. And really using and understanding data to drive activities, drive performance, and drive success as well, and being able to openly talk about success. I think good process, good technology gives data, and I think there's an element of obviously making sure that people understand how the data can inform their day-to-day components, how the data can inform and enable conversations with their business stakeholders, the same with candidates and so forth. And I think having access to that data is probably one of the biggest components for me to make people successful and to make recruitment and talent acquisition successful, full stop. It isn't just about the process and tech. And actually, I would probably not talk about process so much anymore. I'd actually talk about people, data, and tech, and rather than the process.
Right. Okay. So give me some examples. Where do we get the data from, and what type of decisions does it help us to make?
Well, I think it's two components to the data. I think there is the data which transactionally drives a business process, i.e. a recruitment process of some sort, which is going to come from should come from multiple different sources, i.e. your historical data, kind of like what you've done to kind of inform the future, taking into consideration third-party data, so especially when you're thinking about availability of talent, CVs, candidates, etc. And also, I think you should always include an element of quantitative and qualitative data from feedback, experience data. So if I was like looking at driving forward with a business process and like working with a business for requisition management and all that good stuff, taking those 3 elements of data right at the beginning of the process to use as insights to think about changes that you want to do differently, and that may well be, you know, fast tracking something, or not doing this stage of the process, or not using this channel, or not doing something else, and not to repeat behaviors that haven't worked before. So I think that's the transactional element. But there's also a strategic element of data regarding, you know, think especially when organizations have got tech now, which enables them to look at their total workforce, and look at kind of what have they got within their business, what skills have they got there in their business, experience have they got in their business, percentage of permanent workers, non-permanent workers, etc. And using that data to inform more of a strategic conversation before you even start recruiting, I think. So like 2 elements of data.
Yeah, okay. So where does the information comes into what, like analysts and managers and people? Does it go, should recruiters have first-hand access to this? And does it allow them to make tactical, like, I'm going to do this instead of do that?
Well, I don't think you need to be a data scientist to understand the data that's coming out of ATSs or like HCMs. You don't need to now. You know, if you went back 5 years ago, yes, you'd have to take an Excel spreadsheet, you'd have to do all the analysis on it to kind of do it yourself and all the modeling. But if you're lucky enough to work with a strong platform, then you actually don't need that. And I think data is, I think we're all more savvy. I think generally with data, I think we understand it more. And I think the availability of it is actually more easy to understand, that you don't need a degree in it to actually work with it.
And this is relevant to both like pre and post apply. It's for your pipeline. It's also for your like through the process, and how are we doing on
Oh, I lost you. You're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think it's definitely my side. I moved on to Starlink, and about 2 weeks ago. It was a great idea, but it's not as good as I thought it was. What I said was, this is both pre and post apply. It's for your talent pools as well as like the flow through the funnel.
Well, it should be everything, even up to the point of people joining, how long they stay for, retention, the quality of the hire, because everything's a cycle, isn't it? Like if you only look at recruitment data, i.e. your funnels, your speed, your quality of volumes, then you're not really getting a true story, because what you want to do is see how successful that person's being. And also bearing in mind, so many organizations are really focused on internal mobility at the moment due to a number of different reasons. You want to be, you know, like we're in a lucky position because we have so much data available to us. You know, imagine how cool it will be to follow the journey of a candidate's application or their source through to them coming into their business, their promotion a year later, their promotion 2 years later, etc., and showing it from a candidate perspective and that journey, which kind of goes back all the way back round to every conversation, which is like skills-based hiring, where you need data to be able to do skills-based hiring. So that's a really critical part.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm going to be slightly greedy here and just ask you another question since I've got you. What are you like on the technology side? Because I know you're interested in tools and things. Like, is there anything that you've been using recently, or you've been looking at, or you're excited about? Anything new?
It's a bit cliche to talk about AI, isn't it? Because everyone else is doing it.
No.
However, I have had the pleasure of going to a couple of conferences recently, and have seen some of the really cool stuff that's coming. With, you know, like job description creation, all that cool, like all the cool stuff. Which therefore means, coming back to your enablement piece, I think we are going to have to change our skill set to be more kind of be able to do prompts and like that type of element, to be able to really take advantage of the technology that's coming. I actually, to be honest, I'm struggling at the moment with it's a negative answer to your question. I'm struggling at the moment with how much is out there but I don't think that there is one product which serves every need from a talent perspective.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I feel like we're going backwards with our ATSs, our VMSs, our CRMs, our direct sourcing, our F, all the words that we want to give for every single product that we have. But I'm a human being. I don't associate between a permanent or a sourced or a contingent role or a freelancer element, etc. But we within technology are still putting people into boxes, and that's what I'm struggling with, because when you're thinking about engaging with talent, how you then engage with them, it should really be the last thing you think about. But we're still segmenting our processes because of tech, and I'd love to see something which is taking away all of the guardrails of anything to do with permanent or non-permanent hiring. I think the HCMs are getting there because of workforce being in one place, but when it comes to any form of recruiting or talent acquisition, we're still being segmented, and I would love to see those barriers being broken down.
Couldn't agree more with you. I think you and I have had this conversation around the concept of like the ecosystem. So
Yeah, totally.
I am a company. I want to have a relationship with people who are working for me on a permanent basis, on a temporary basis, on a contract basis, people who left my organization, but I might want to get them back, people who are not yet in a process with us, but I want to talk to them in the future, people who have maybe recently retired. This whole ecosystem, if I can have visibility on this, and I can, instead of, I mean, we might have them tagged in some way, but you're absolutely right. And unfortunately, I think that recruiting teams are suffering from the goals of venture capital firms. They into another point solution that does this tiny little sliver, but actually it does it really, really great. And we're going to put so much money in that it's going to be able to go and market itself, and loads of people are going to want to use it. And then all of a sudden, an individual recruiter's got 50 things that they could use for all these different things. I think we've got more chaos than we ever have had in recruitment technology.
Well, definitely. Well, if you just look at the marketplace and the billions of pounds of investment in there, and then I've got a slide somewhere which is like your typical, like through the process, everything that you use. I could throw a bus at it because there's so much in there which you can use, but that comes with complications of integrations and data maintenance, and makes it difficult for people to know what to do. They're then hanging around in different products and different technology platforms, which makes it just harder to do your job. And we keep on talking, and like people talk about kind of like one job, one person, but we still haven't got one tech to really do what we need. So I think and you can repurpose pre-existing technology platforms, but that comes with potential challenges and issues as well. So it would be nice to have one job, one process, one tech, and one data set.
Yeah. Shout out to Eightfold, who I've never used it. I've never really heard anything particularly good about it, but I do know that that's what they're, I think, trying to do. And so I hope for them they can succeed and others can follow suit.
Indeed.
Kirsten, thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. It's been great to talk to you again, and see you soon.
Take care.